Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Friday the 27th of April. Now it's a rather cold pattern that we've got overall, and that stays with us into the start of next week. Eventually things come round more of a west-southwesterly and there's a glimmer of improvement, but I think it's still a rather mixed weather pattern as we go into the start of May. Let's have a look at temperatures first of all, and this is the 850 millibar chart. That's at around 4,500 feet in the atmosphere. That 140 you might just be able to see is 1,400 metres above sea level, so you're just a little bit higher than the highest Scottish tops on this chart, but it gives you a steer for the general air mass that's in place, and we're seeing -3 to -5 shown across the Scottish Highlands at that level. So you're sub-zero on those higher tops. You'll have a little bit of diurnal variation where you may just lift towards freezing point. Even the higher tops in England and Wales are not too far above freezing through this time. As we go into early next week, an area of low pressure shown here moves up the North Sea, a cold northerly that's in place for a day or so we're staying in a generally cold air mass. Gradually then, as next week goes on, we see the wind flow eventually coming back round from the Atlantic. It's still on the cool side though. You'll see temperatures here still at -2, -3 at this level in the atmosphere. I think a general trend to being maybe less cold as we run towards the May Day weekend. Just see the temperatures lifting a little bit here. That's the model by the 5th of May. So temperatures lifting a little, but nothing too special even then, I suspect. And what that will mean, of course, is that the existing snow cover that's in place across the Scottish Highlands in particular will be preserved well into May, and there's some substantial depth still up there on the Munros in particular. Some of the higher routes are still impassable following the heavy winter snow, so bear that in mind as we run towards the May Day weekend of that extensive snow in the Highlands. Next few days then, the charts. This is Saturday, and some slow-moving showers of snow and hail across Scotland again, tending to drift westwards through the day. The remnants of a front that's the leftovers of Friday's system really is across the Peak District and South Pennines, some of that giving murkiness into Wales too. One or two areas of slow-moving showers, Snowdonia, Brecon Beacons and into the Lake District in the afternoon. Essentially a dull picture, I think, across the Pennines. The Peak District might stay rather murky most of the day. And a chilly feel too. Not too much wind, but that northeasterly across the Pennines will add to that cold feel. Wind strengthening a bit into Sunday. The wind's 20-30 miles per hour maybe by the afternoon across much of the Pennines and even into Wales too. Lighter winds in Scotland, one or two showers around, but much more scattered than previous days, so substantially dry for many on Sunday. The next difficulty is the area of low pressure that's over France. That's starting to edge northwards later. That'll have complications into Monday. That's where the latest models have that system. It's a deepening feature and could well give strong, widely gale-force winds across many mountains. Western and northern Scotland may escape with not too much wind at all under fairly slack pressure, but the risk of winds even up to 50 or 60 miles per hour across the Pennines, the Lakes and into Wales through this time just depends exactly where that low is centred. Many mountains may get away dry and bright with lots of sunshine. A chilly start, as it will be over the weekend, with frost in many valleys and glens to start Monday morning. I think the idea of any rain, sleet and snow is focused on the Pennines, perhaps East Wales, and the reality is that sleet or snow will come down to quite low levels with that cold air mass in place. So one to watch at this stage. I think many will escape, but particularly the Pennines just need to watch that one for deteriorating into Monday. Now what's left on that system seems to be draped across eastern England and Scotland into Tuesday. There could be some lowering cloud and some snow across the eastern Highlands for a time. A ridge of higher pressure coming in from the west runs in ahead of fronts then moving in from the Atlantic as a bit of mobility gets into the pattern and we start to see a west or southwesterly flow developing into midweek. For many, though, on Tuesday again, we could see a decent day away from that low-pressure system towards the east, cloud breaking to many higher tops, a chilly feel once again, frost to start the morning in the glens, and a day which is bright with just maybe a few scattered showers. Now into Wednesday, difficulty with the absolute detail, but the general theme seems to be going back to a westerly regime, maybe quite windy, perhaps gales across the mountains for a time. Fronts passing eastwards might not be quite as organised as this, but the idea of some rain or showers. And across the hills and mountains, once again, sleet or snow, followed by some hail as the showers come in from the west later. Not absolutely clear-cut how that pattern develops through midweek as yet. I think the idea of being rather showery and cool has got to be the theme. Some areas could do poorer than that and see some more frequent rain or snow and low cloud, particularly in the west. The general theme, though, as we run towards the later part of the week, is that westerly winds will dominate. Low pressure is towards Iceland, higher pressure is trying to edge in from the Azores. And many models are starting to come round to an idea that higher pressure builds a little bit towards the south of Britain. I'd fancy we might still be hanging on to something of a westerly flow, and if we do, it stays rather showery. But there is just an indication, not completely backed up by all the models, but an indication of something better running towards that May Day weekend. It may well be that West and North West Scotland are bothered by fronts as a west-south-westerly flow is in place. But the further south and east you go, a greater chance at the moment of being drier and brighter and perhaps a touch warmer as well. The reason for the relative uncertainty is a chart that looks like this, and this is the 7-day means of the pressure fields. This is in the middle layers of the atmosphere, but we can tell the story then of the surface weather patterns from this. And what that shows is a broadly lower than average pressure across the British Isles through that time, which would not necessarily bode that well for getting drier, warmer conditions in. The high is focused out over the Atlantic. That's the high that we're trying to get building in from the Azores. It just could be that we're still in quite a slow-moving pattern where we've got a trough of lower pressure on the scene and the risk of some areas of rain or showers on the scene really as we run through that May Day weekend and maybe beyond. A lot to play for with that one, so I think keep an eye on the forecast details. Not an easy one to exactly tell the story of the May Day weekend just at this moment. It's quite a common story really that the springtime weather patterns do give us the runaround, and predictability beyond about 7 to 10 days is often rather sketchy. So we'll keep you up to date, and we'll have the next planning video online for you on Tuesday, hopefully with a bit more clarity on that upcoming May Day weekend. Thanks for watching today, and bye for now.